Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Welcome back, preschool peeps.
Hello.
Did you miss us? It's been a whole week.
A whole week. I know.
I know, it's crazy. We as we announced, last week, we went back to our regular schedule of releasing every Monday morning at 8 a.m. So, it's reasonable that you might have missed us or not.
No.
But we're back. We're back, yeah. And we have some questions as we often do.
Yeah.
We're sort of curious why there seems to be this notion that opening schools is going to solve the mental health issues that the children and or adults may be suffering from by having to have been in quarantine or isolation. It is true that some people will find it to be a great relief from what they've been through to be back together. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But mental health is also not one size fits all.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to remember a few things, including coming back together is stressful for a variety of reasons that maybe we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. The children have been through trauma, and that really, in my professional opinion, that needs to be addressed before anything. The trauma and the trauma-informed practices that we have to bring in. And they're living with families, some of whom will be thrilled to send them back, and others who will be fearful and reticent, and the children who pick up on that. And, it was interesting, Alison. I was watching a press conference yesterday, and I think it was Governor Cuomo, maybe the day before, I don't know. All the days seem alike. Yeah, but maybe it was New York's Governor Cuomo, and I believe it was. And he said something like the fact that we don't know the long-term effects of the children being unable to socialize for 6 months. And it's true, we don't.
That's true.
We don't know the long-term effects.
Yeah.
And that's very, very true. So I'm not sure why we assume for every child that going back to school is going to magically help their mental health. I think we have to really think about mental health deeper and different.
I was just going to say, it's deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm not saying that it won't help children to be back. It's going to help some children to be back. But the issues are way deeper than just going back to school and seeing friends. It needs more help.
Help us. Okay, so
you know what I mean.
I read this great post somewhere, and it was like, please keep in mind that socialization in schools will not be what it was in February 2019. Right. And so when people are saying, but they need to go back and socialize, it's not going to look the same. There's going to be a lot of go here, go there, stand here, don't get too close, don't do this, don't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that. But there's also going to be, if you have skilled teachers, there will be teachers who know how to teach social emotional skills, even though that's happening. But I think it's a mistake to pretend that has no impact. I just do.
Yeah.
We can't, we have to, I don't know about you, Alison, but often now I look at what people are saying, and I really shouldn't scroll comments. It's a big mistake.
Don't do I know, but I always
help it.
I always do. I always do too. I know.
So I'll look at it and I'll think, I'll see something like that post about socialization won't look the same, and I'll think, what are people saying about that? Because there's truth to that. So I'll go look at the comments, and there's such a wide variety. And that's what I'm talking about with mental health. There are people who are saying they need to be back in one room. That's socialization. There are people who are saying in my school, we have to keep them 6 feet apart wearing masks. That's not the same. there are people, I mean, it just feels like a storm of crazy around everything.
Yes. And I think there might be, it's not going to be the same. Like, so I think those people who are saying like, oh, send them back to school so they can socialize. Well, they're socializing.
Yes, there's a level of socialization. Even, let's put it in
yeah,
adult
but
terms.
it's not like they can go to the playground and play and hang out. Like they can't do that anymore. So it's not the same. It's not the same.
And I think the same. And I think there's a level of stress to all of our socialization now. Yeah. I did like that whole backyard social distancing with a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So we sat feet apart when we ordinarily would have greeted each other by hugging or right.
Yeah.
And we met after lunch so that the whole food thing wouldn't be any kind of issue. Not that I've done takeout and stuff, but she said, my friend said, let's not make the food and serving dishes and all that thing an issue. And that's where her comfort level was. Right. So fine.
Yeah.
Then, so we sat and we talked and at one point I needed to use her bathroom and I had to say to her, what are the rules for going in the house? Would you like me to wear a mask? There's a level of tension for all of this. As lovely as it was to see her in person, and as lovely as it was to be out of my four walls and somewhere else.
Yes.
There's something positive about it. At the same time, it doesn't completely cure the problem. How about that?
Right. Because I did something similar this week too. My friend was like, hey, it's hot. Do you want to come with me and my daughter? We're going to go to the lake. We'll just distance, we'll get there really early before people are going to be there. And I was fine when I was with them. But when I left, I had a really awesome time. It was fun to see her daughter play in the water and splash around. It was cute. But when I'm driving home, I was like, what if I just got her daughter sick? What if I'm carrying it and asymptomatic? What if I had all these worries after the fact? And I was like, oh no, like, what if I find out, there is this, socializing is not the same anymore. I think in the back of your head, you have all this like anxiety or fear or.
I think we can't hang our hat.
Yeah, it's like surrounded by this cloud of like doubt. Like,
I keep thinking, won't families be disappointed when their kids are stressed out by school instead of calmed by being in school? And it's not going to be true for every child.
No.
But some children will find these sorts of rules very restrictive and anxiety provoking. So I keep thinking there are parents who are going to be very disappointed. You're going to tell your story.
I'm going to tell my story now.
Tell your story.
Right. So my friend works at a summer camp that opened on Monday. And severely cut in the amount of children that are there, but still, okay. She said first that there was a child who was eating a snack and it was an orange, and oranges got a peel on them. So she accidentally dropped it on the ground and then totally had a breakdown because she's like now like freaking out, like I'm going to get sick from that orange because it touched the ground. And my friend was like, no, you'll peel it and it's fine. We'll throw the peel away. We'll wash our hands. And then we'll, you know what I mean? Like this whole thing, like trying to reassure. She was having like a panic attack, this poor little girl, over getting COVID from eating that orange. Okay. That was the first thing. And then she said, yes, the children are all there, but they cannot play together in the yard. So they have, I guess it's marked out or whatever, where they can play. So she says it's actually, they were happy to see each other, but then they couldn't hug, they couldn't high five, they can't play ball, they can't do this. So like, it's like worse. She said the kids are actually worse seeing their friends, but not being able to actually interact with them than not seeing them at all.
That's so interesting. So she thinks they would be better off actually in a different situation.
Yes. She then, she was like, it's hard to see these kids come in, get all excited, like, yay, there's my friend. And then they're like, oh yeah, wait, but you can't go near him. You can't do that. You got to stay here. And then you see this look of like, oh, can't even play, can't even, she's like, it's been really sad.
Alison knows I was observing some kids this week in their Zoom classes, and there were some kids who, they were just such awesome children. And I would text Alison after and say, it was so great to watch this child. And at the same time, I'm extraordinarily sad that this is their world. It's sad. And I think we have to pay attention to this whole mental health thing more than if we reopen buildings, then it's going to be positive for everybody's mental health. Some people will actually be more stressed. We also have to, I think, I know that recommendations are that there are mental health supports for staffs and students. I know that there are many recommendations having to do with that. And I'm just going to say this with all due respect. It can't be just somebody marching around the building saying, anybody need my help? There has to be.
And it can't just be one person. Yeah.
It can't be one person.
Yeah.
And there has to be active community outreach to prepare children and teachers and administrators for the return. Because I talk to, in my work as a consultant, I talk to teachers and administrators all the live long day. And I can't even tell you how many administrators have expressed to me their fear and guilt, and their concern that they have a level of responsibility for illnesses that they have no control over. The mental health aspects of this are so multi-layered that I fear that because we want it to be February 2019 so much again, that we're just sort of throwing a blanket on it that says, okay, like a Band-Aid, like, okay, we're going to open things, we're going to open schools, and it's going to make it better. And I don't even think that's true of much. I just don't think it's true of much that we've done. I think you momentarily feel better, but then there are things that make you anxious again, and we need to continually monitor this.
Yeah.
And it's another reason why I think there needs to be choice right now in our schools. We need families to know that if you believe your child's mental health will be better at home, or at home with siblings, or at home with this pod of neighbors you have, or at home with the cousins, or whatever you have, I don't care. If you feel as a family member that your child's mental health actually won't be served well by going to that building, for that reason, you need the option of them working at home. I also think that when families say, I'm opting out, I'll connect with you online, and they are still connected with their school, that the mental health services that may be available or provided, there needs to be outreach to them to say, can we talk with you and your children so that maybe we can help them acclimate to what's happening now.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are planning in regard to these mental health services, and I hope that this is the sort of thing they're thinking about. Mental health has to come before, what am I looking for, Alison? Before their level of comfort will improve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true, and teachers too. And teachers too. Yes, teachers signed up to teach. Teachers did not sign up to be in a COVID-19 petri dish.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be respectful of the fact that teachers are walking into what could be a stressful situation for them. Again, not everyone. Some people are thrilled to go back. But we can't diminish the ones who aren't. Go ahead.
Right. And I feel like, I was going to say, in our society for a very long time, I feel like mental health has been kind of squashed a little bit. Like I don't
stigmatized.
Stigmatized. Because I think for so long people were like, oh, you're depressed, just cheer up, you're fine. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. It's like, no, it's deeper than that. And that's the same kind of thing here. Like, this is like, you can't just be like, oh, the kids will all go back to school and they'll all be fine. Like, that's not, it's way deeper than that. Same with teachers, like, oh, you'll get back to your routine and it'll be fine. Like, no, it's way deeper than that. So, and I feel like it just goes back to like how mental health has been stigmatized in our society for a very, very long time. And that people are like, oh, this is the easy fix. We'll just send the kids back to the school. No, there is no easy fix here. There is no easy fix
to the mental health.
Yeah.
And I think too that we really need to, people like me I provide professional development, and I can provide professional development having to do with trauma-informed practices and the signs that a child has been through trauma. I have that research in my computer and that information, and I can provide those sessions, and I do. I had but that's not going to solve everything. And I had a teacher say to me the other day, when I said, well, I'm going to do something having to do with trauma-informed practices with this staff.
Yeah.
And she said, it's fine to hear what the right practices are, but I'm more curious about what the children will be like. What will the children be like? And I said to her, I really believe you're going to get the range of children who are just thrilled to be there, children who can keep the mask on, children who can't, children who don't. You're going to get the range. I said to her, but the length of that range, how far that range will span, no one can tell you.
No, we don't know.
In our current era, we've never been through this before.
Yeah.
No one can tell you, is it going to be a span of this length, or this length? We don't know the range of the mental health concerns and trauma-informed concerns we'll have to deal with. I know that there will be children who have not been through any trauma and who have thrived. I know that there will be children who really have been extremely traumatized. And I don't know how far apart they're going to be and how many people will be in between.
Yeah. I mean, for some of these children, they lost family members or saw their family members become very, very ill. That, like, if you haven't gone through that, you just don't know how you're going to react, and these are children that don't fully understand what is going on. So for them, they saw somebody get very sick and they don't understand why. It's just, the amount of trauma is just way too deep. And there's going to be other children that maybe didn't go through that and they might be less traumatized. But we all went through something. To say that no one has trauma, that's just not true. We all have at least a little bit of it. I mean, we all have something. So
we did.
Yeah.
And, do I agree with the people who say the kids will adapt, the kids will be fine? Of course I do. I really believe human beings have an amazing capacity to adapt.
Yeah.
And if they get out of their own mental way. Yeah. But I also think, yes, children may adapt. This podcast is about very young children who can't always express to you what they're feeling inside.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to really acknowledge that coming back together will have its benefits, and it's not going to be a mental health cure.
Yeah. It's not an easy fix.
I'm so afraid that everybody's hanging their hat on it. I'm so
think they are. They think this is the this is the cure.
Open the building.
And really, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg kind of thing. It's like that don't work. Okay, like
are we going to find out 20 years from now when all of these kids are exhibiting whatever, like Governor Cuomo said, whatever the effects of this time have been on their socialization and emotional growth. 20 years from now, when kids are exhibiting, are people not expecting that to happen? Because that's likely going to happen.
It's going to happen.
When they become adults or when they get older, we're going to see not only maybe physical effects, but also mental effects of having lived through this time. We saw that after 9/11, which was so different than this.
Yes.
That had long-lasting emotional effects, especially on the families who were directly involved. So at that time, let's think about this. It was a little more than 3,000 families directly involved, right?
Yeah.
What do we got now, Allison?
Hundreds
of thousands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of families directly impacted by COVID-19.
Yeah.
So what's our overall message? We don't even know now. What's our overall message of this episode? I guess it is when you talk about expect the unexpected for sure. Yeah. And when you talk about we have to open schools for everyone's mental health, recognize that it's not a magical elixir.
Right.
to what's happened. You know, mental health, it's the silent thing. You can see when a symptomatic person has COVID-19. You can't even see when an asymptomatic person does. But you're not going to see what's going on inside the minds of these children. And they will, some of them, be with stressed adults at home and or stressed adults at school.
Yep.
They already have certain rules that have been imposed upon them because of whatever's going on in their families and at home. And now they're coming back. And those of them those early learners who remember school are coming back to a very different place. Yeah. With different schedules and different rules. And I don't know if we can prepare them enough. Maybe like we used to do back to school nights, we need to have preliminary mental health checks and a glimpse at what school's going to be like. How about that?
Yeah. I think that we need to be preparing these families over the summer for what this is going to be like. This is not going to be the same. Here's what you could do to prepare your child to go back into this kind of environment, which is not what they left in March.
And we don't even know. So we're recording this in July, and our schools here start in September or so. Yeah. That's like 10 years in the life of COVID-19.
That is true.
Because things change every day. So to say now, just because plans are put in place, that's what it's going to look like in September, we don't know that.
Yeah, and I think there's some parents who right now are like, yep, send the kids back to school. And the night before are going to be like, you know what? No, thank you. You know, I can't. Yeah, that they just can't make that jump, or people who do the opposite, like, you know, maybe it'll be. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are making last minute decisions because I think you're not going to know until the day before what COVID looks like in your area, and that's what you're going to base your decision on.
I think the really hard thing is one of the things that I'm reading on social media and those comments that I should avoid. One of the really hard things is going to be the number of teachers who in those comments say, I'm not making a decision till the last minute. These schools don't even realize that the teachers aren't necessarily coming back, maybe.
I'll tell you what, they don't realize that. Right now, a lot of administration believes every single teacher is going to be thrilled to come back. And of course they would come back because we did everything. We bought all this stuff to make you feel safe. Don't you feel safe? Don't you feel safe?
Yeah,
and you're just like, yeah, and they're going to wait till the actual plan comes out. They're going to wait until the governor says, okay, we are opening or not opening, and this is what we need to do. And then you're going to have a major teacher issue here. You're going to have a staffing issue because you made all your plans based on all of your teachers coming back. And what happens when a percentage of your teachers say, you know what, I can't do it, or I'm sick, or my husband got sick and I need to quarantine, and I found out yesterday. Who knows what's going to happen? What are you going to do here? I don't think they're realizing it. I think they're just like, well, we did all this stuff to make you guys feel safe. You just should feel safe. You know? But it's not that easy. It's not that easy. If it was that easy, I would feel safe going everywhere. And it you know, by wearing, like, it's such a complex issue.
It is very complex. So can we please stop simplifying the mental health issue by saying
it?
And you know, I've heard people say something about we have to reopen because of everybody's mental health. Take the word everybody out and put in because of some people's mental health.
Right.
I also, in those comments that I shouldn't be looking at on social media, have come to realize that there are people who likely are putting things like, reopen, we need it for our mental health. This is the voice of fear, that they haven't yet gotten to that stage
they're not there
of acceptance. They're not there yet. There are times where I read things and I just think you're not there yet, honey. You're not there yet.
Yeah. And we say that
where you can have a logical discussion and stop attacking people and stop over defending yourself. Because when people over defend themselves and they attack other people, that's fear behavior. Right. So I think we need to recognize not everyone is there yet. And it is also the job of the schools to say, here's the situation. Yeah. Here's how your children may or may not react. Please watch for the following signs of trauma and stress in your children. When young children are stressed, they express it by saying things like, my tummy hurts, my head hurts.
Tired. Yeah.
I'm tired. Yeah. Right. They behave differently than normal.
Yeah.
So I think schools need to send things home saying these are the signs of stress and trauma. Please watch for this for us, because we need to be working in conjunction. And I hope they're thinking of doing that. I hope you and I are saying things where people are listening to this saying, oh yeah, my school is doing that.
Yeah.
We would love to know what's happening with the mental health services that are happening around the country and the world. So feel free to contact us through our form on the website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com, or on Facebook. Either way, we have a page.
Yep.
And so we're going to stop rambling about something we obviously can't solve.
No
I feel
clue.
like we were rambling. But I also feel like we did. But I also feel like when we ramble a little bit, we may be expressing what people are thinking. And I also think that's good for mental health.
That's good. Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, folks, we've gone, I think we've gone long. Isn't that what they say in football?
Going long.
We're going long. So we're going to stop the episode and catch you again next Monday on How Preschool Teachers Do It, with maybe a topic about how you're doing it. I don't know. Okay.
How are we going to do it?
That's a thing.
It's not a question I have an answer to.
We will catch you next time.
Bye.